everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back. It is your sixth The Rookie episode review. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. I have a big poof here. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I don't know what more to say, to be honest with you. It's been a very tiring week for me. Not really, but and also I'm recovering from a case of Super Bowl foodies. I ate a lot of food during Super Bowl weekend. I'm not quite happy with it in terms of my weight intake, but it was still a very lovely, very nice weekend for me. I hope everyone enjoyed their Super Bowl Sunday. It's over if you do, watch the game or not. If not, I hope you just enjoyed your regular weekend. But this week on The Rookie, as we are approaching Valentine's Day, it was very poetic for there to be another Valentine's Day episode for The Rookie. I'm not sure what number this one would be. I think we're on the fourth one. The fifth one? I don't quite remember. I really don't know. But yeah, and it's another special holiday. It's a very poignant holiday, A lot of people are celebrating their first. Some people are not celebrating their first. It's quite an interesting pairing. And honestly, this episode kind of was gonna make me think one way, but The Rookie always has a thing of like, we could take the probable, okay, we're kind of getting to that weird zone and raising it up at the end. And I'm like, and they did it again. I was like ready, like, I'm pretty sure people are gonna comment like I'm just a hater. I'm trying to make The Rookie feel like it's mid. No, it was the complete opposite by the end of it. By the time like the story kind of came to a head, it all made sense as a result. But I want to get into it. So with all that being said, let's go through the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of The Rookie. I believe we begin exactly with. Do we begin with the pair? I do believe so. Yeah, we see Selena and Miles heading over to a little hangout. They're off today. They're just trying to get some crystals for Selena as she is welcoming the return of Roger back home from his European tour. And she's mostly interested in like having some quality personal time with a man that she loves a lot, and then also she wants to bang a lot. And I'm like, yeah, like any related misepisodes. I've seen people comment on the internet like, why don't Selena and Miles get together? And I'm like, sometimes this is basically fine to be a platonic friendship. It's basically platonic. So they head over into this crystal shop where they witness a disgruntled customer getting mad at the shop owner. And as soon as Selena and Miles are about to intercept him, the shop owner supposedly casts a curse onto him, but sadly the curse was so close to Miles. Well, Miles also got the blunt of the curse, even though it's superstition, stuff like that, blah 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 blah. But no, that's not really 100% the case. Yes, he does have a very sudden blood mark on him, indicating Miles is cursed. We have officially hit 8 seasons of the show, and we are now dealing with curses. I know Selena's been here since season 5. I get that, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay. Anyway, with that being said, let's continue onward. So we cut to the next day. It's been a little bit quiet for everyone. Not 100% quiet, but just a couple things to note. Obviously, this is Lucy and Tim's first Valentine's Day as a couple. Their first one officially since they're moving in. Lucy calls up her new BFF, Ginny, aka Bradford's sister, for some advice on trying to find a last-minute present. For Tim, as sadly she did have the perfect gift, but sadly between the move and then just rearranging, getting drunk a couple times, that sadly the possession of that is no longer in her care. And with that being said, now she's trying to wonder of what can be a secondary present for him that would make sense for the go around. And also Ginny's making a commentary on LA's traffic, being stuck in traffic for a while now. As Bradford also calls up Ginny, as again, he had ordered this super premium Korean skincare set to the house, but sadly it never came, which I'm like, Bradford, you fool, you go in person, you just buy it all out, unless it's a premium, that's on you. So he's also in the same predicament where he does not have a set Valentine's Day gift for Lucy. So they're trying to figure it out, which is ironic considering the fact they're both using the same person to assist them on this matter. As the two decide to just, wait till after their Valentine's Day event festivities later is over to unbox presents and go through it. Just as the matter. And also, I just remember, yes, we did have a Valentine's Day episode, I believe, in the first season, if I'm not mistaken, or is it the second season? I don't remember now. Then we cut over to the station. Sadly, Miles's curse continues as he accidentally unleashes a pepper spray onto the entire, apologies, men's locker room, with the Gray chiming in on it. It's like, Jesus Christ, who in their right mind would activate it? And like, yeah, no. And by the time even Noah mentions curse, it's like, you know what? I'm not part of y'all anymore. Well, I am, but I'm also not. So I'm like perfectly stable. I'm like, just walking away, just trying to get about my day. Nolan volunteered his house to I believe, an announcement ceremony for more like a charity gala of a sort, for Wesley's campaign to be DA, because as of right now, he and forgetting the names again, he and Bailey are currently in a rough patch with everything that happened last week. We talked about that to depth. And Gray's chiming in of like, you know what? I think you did the right thing. Obviously it's never going to be that easy. You going through, you have your career, she has her career, she has a sudden change to be do a new career, and yeah, he's kind of in that boat right now with his wife. Since between the two of them, they have not been able to really have any quality time any time lately, and he kind of does miss it. He loves her a lot, he respects her a lot, but at the same time, he does want to kind of spend some quality time with her, and I don't blame him. I really, really don't. We get the parallel of that as Bailey talks to Gray's wife about it. Oh, Luna, about the matter as well, and she's also chiming in like, yeah, she's made her own sacrifices to benefit Gray's career as well as their life. That like now that she's finally made some moves for her own. Obviously, Gray's not 100% happy with certain decisions, but again, Luna made the move because she wanted to, and if Gray is a loving husband, then he will support that no matter what. Again, analogy to kind of keep supporting Bailey. Like, look, if you really want to take the job, Nolan will support you no matter what. But at the same time, she also did mention that Nolan did sacrifice a lot for Bailey. A lot. We can go for season 4, season 5, season 6, even season 7. He has done a lot. Well, we'll talk more about that later. Before I get into it, we're gonna keep on trucking with this episode review. I believe we are at the DA's office, where Lila is pleading to Wesley because again, Lila wants all of Glassman's victims to be charged together. But however, as maybe goes, you take the strongest case first, getting convicted on that, and then work on getting the more trickier cases pinned on him. It does take some time, to be honest with you. It does take a little bit of time to do that. But regardless of that, Wesley still needs Harper to go through the traditional processes of getting screened by, in this case, the defense, before the case of the matter, just to make sure that that the witness has been cross-examined by both parties, and before that witness can even go near a courtroom right now. So that's kind of where they're sitting at right now with it. Then I believe, where do we go from? Actually, we're not there yet. We're not quite there yet. I believe we hit the streets. Nolan and Miles witness Miles' bad luck continue as while they're stopping a homeless person, the homeless person happens to have spiders inside of his pants, his pockets. So when Miles has to go check him out, sadly he gets bitten a lot. So I'm like, damn, this has just not been Miles' day. It's gonna get worse, by the way. It's gonna get a lot worse. But before they can leave the area, they see a burning swan boat in the distance. They call it in. They manage to take it out. Bailey coming in and immediately recognizing like, yeah, this is a very specific MO, this is, of how this technique is usually done, in order for people not to spend too much money on a fire started, by the same time being a little bit more safer to get some time away before it eventually does set up as a result of it. So I believe from there, I want to say, where did we go from there? I completely forgot. I know Bailey and Nolan do talk about themselves, and they're like, yeah, no, it may be Valentine's Day, but like, okay, it's not the worst fight in the world. They are talking to each other in a regular format, but again, it's still very much like they had a blow up, they had a fight, and now they're kind of like, okay, what do we do now? What is our play here at the moment? I believe from there we go back over to Lucy asking Selena about her recommendations about a gift idea. They haven't really found anything as well, to figure out where exactly they can go. Then Lucy gets the bright idea of contacting Ginny once more. There was a specific book that Bradford mentioned that he kind of leaned upon during his childhood that kind of would be a very important thing for them to it would be a very sentimental gift for him to have again. So I believe from there, I want to say we go over. I believe, do they intercept the guy already? I believe they do. Where like the other guy that Miles was being targeted from the Kerr standpoint, is conveniently around LAPD, around Mid-Busher Station, and then he was like claiming like it's been a very crazy couple days, like a lot of bad stuff has happened to me. Like y'all need to arrest this person, get her in here, and get this curse off me. And which they trying to plead with him, but however he just immediately steps out a few steps away from the vehicle. He gets hit by an oncoming vehicle, which I'm just like, damn. So much violence in this episode. So much violence. Where do we go from here? I believe Nyla does get cross-examined by the defense. He is bringing up some very choice words about, Nyla's investigation tactics during when we were dealing with the Glassman stuff last season. And sadly, her comments to Glassman claiming that she will find a way to pin this all on him is a little bit subjective, since pin kind of means like you're targeting someone to get a crime put on them. Now, like, I'm going to catch you, I'm going to pin this on you. So it's like indicating that there could be another serial killer and Glassman's being used as the fall guy. Obviously, that's not the case for the viewer, but obviously, in a court of law, obviously, they're going to do whatever they can, whatever shady technique, whatever improper things to get their client out of prison, even if it doesn't 100% mean the most cleanest things possible. So obviously, this is a little bit transgression, and also the confirmation that Nyla did quote it as such, confirming that was her wording. It puts things in a little bit more of a precarious situation. As for obviously for Wesley's point of view, using Nyla as like a very key aspect of his case, having that specific wording now put into record puts into indication that like Nyla, again, it's being worded as Nyla is being viewed as a detective that was pinning this on Glassman without having really too much shade of evidence. Even if the evidence is there, it still doesn't really 100% coincide with things. So because of it, Wesley does have to report now to IA, even though technically this isn't something that he agrees with. It says if he doesn't do it now, the other side will do it, and then the IA will go to Wesley. If they were on your team, you knew about this, yet you chose not to come forward with it. That is on you, and they can have him disbarred. We already know Wesley has a very bad history right now with things. I mean, he already got suspended once. Like this might break his career. So yeah, not 100% the best thing for him to do. So I mean, you could view it as like him looking out for his own self, but at the same time, it's due justice. It's going to be something that's going to be looked upon, and hopefully Nala won't receive the butt of it, but we will see how that kind of progresses from that point onwards. I want to say we get one more thing with the fire. I think Nolan does team up with Lopez about looking up the potentials for the possible arsonist. There is a usual goer, as Bailey does volunteer her time to find out, and they do find someone that kind of matches the MO. It really is a match, but Bailey decides to sit down in the interrogation portion, as Miles is really, really worse for wear. Like, this man is like one more bad accident away from being on death's door. So I believe from there, so they talk to him, and he's immediately saying, every single time y'all have something similar to my actions, y'all want to blame me. And I did nothing this go around. So let me go. I'll sign whatever I need to sign, but I'm not getting pinned for something I didn't do. And of course, Nolan kind of questions that because, everything that the mode of this format is basically all you. This is your signature, this is your handwriting. Obviously, for the guy, he's like, oh, clearly it's not me, but at the same time, who's copying my style? I don't like that. I really don't like that. But we'll come back to him momentarily. I know there is a scene with Selena talking to the same crime scene photoist guy from last week's episode, and I'm a little bit confused about this because Selena clearly used attraction abilities to get this guy to accelerate his progress. But at the same time, you're thinking that this is completely platonic. I mean, Selena, you may have made a boo boo here. You have made a boo boo here. Inviting him to the charity to the benefit in Wesley's honor at Nolan's house. As again, Selena, you should really be more specific. People do not always have the most neutralist of thoughts in mind. Not everyone, but we'll get back to that momentarily. Um, I believe from there, I think I believe that's all the setup we need. I mean, sadly, Miles does not in the mood for the party, so like he's sitting on that one. So we're at Nolan's residence. The whole thing is filled up to the tens with it. Wesley immediately gets yelled at Lopez because of his plan to take Harper to IA. Obviously, he has to kind of make her understand it is not because she did anything wrong. It's because it's just the process. It's just what they need to do right now for it. So yeah. So with that being said, yeah. So they're kind of like again, like when your husband is basically telling you, yeah, I'm basically going to put your best friend's job at risk. I do not blame him 100. Blame them 100%. Well, I blame her 100%. Like she's going to be against him on that. Nolan's talking to Ginny a little bit, like okay, Nolan's not exactly in the best conditions right now with everything going on. But they're gonna work things out. At the same time, Bailey shows up, hands over Nolan his Valentine's Day gift, which immediately Nolan's like, "Oh shit, we were in the middle of fighting. I completely forgot to give you a gift." But it's not really the most frugal of gift. It's basically a lifeline pass, as Bailey has decided to give up the DC job. She's gonna stay here in LA. She's gonna focus on it, considering the fact no one has done so much in the last 3 years for her. No duh. And that she, in a way, owes him for all that, for all of his patience, for all of his little sacrifices, for every moral bend overs he had to do. Um, this is what he gets. And obviously, no one still has some words to say, but of course, they're in the middle of a party, so they can't really fully talk about it, so to speak. Lucy brings aside Bradford to another room to kind of speak to him about their gift that Bailey. Lucy couldn't hold it back a little bit further, so she gives him his gift, which is the book. Not only just the book itself, but it's signed by the original author, which of course makes Bradford oh so happy. But however, he immediately realizes his gift pales in comparison, so he immediately goes over to Ginny, trying to plead with her, like, "Is there anything else I can do?" Which I'm like, Bradford, my dude, it is Valentine's Day itself. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. I believe from there we get over to where do we go over to that? Right, we go back over. I believe the photographer shows up, immediately sees Selena. The two talk for a little bit. He tries to make a kiss on Selena, and again, second time Selena gets a kiss moved on, which I'm like, Selena, just take it as a compliment at this point. Just take it as a compliment. Obviously, she said, no, this is not allowed. 100% not allowed. She pointed out, I had no feelings for you like that, and I should have been more specific. As Roger answered through the door, he has returned back from his trip very, very earlier than expected to surprise Selena for the matter. Obviously, the guy, I felt so sorry for the photographer. Like, the dude looks like a solid 7. So, I apologies to him. So I believe from there, yeah, then Wesley gets the event kicked off properly with a little speech. However, one of the victims' fathers that Wesley is prosecuting for the Glassman case shows up, as apparently someone leaked to him that his son's case will not be reviewed anytime soon. They're going to be focusing on other cases right now against Glassman, and they'll loop back to him. Obviously, he gets really mad by this, considering the fact he was promised that Wesley would target everyone involved in Glassman, not just specific people, trying to lay a knife attack on him, which Wesley does a very quick attack to kind of incapacitate him and also get him arrested pretty quickly, which I'm like, that is just wonderful for his safety. Not good for his public image, though. As we cut to the next day, where Lucy does see the gift from Bradford, and as much as Bradford's trying to cover himself, she still finds it to be a very sincere gift, considering the fact, yeah, their luck this year with gifts has not been the best right now. So you know what, anything that they can take is a win. This is a win in the books. I believe from there, do we get who do we go to in the next day? Do we just cut to everyone else? No, I don't believe so. I'm blanking on there's anyone else. I know Harper and Lopez do have a conversation about everything going on with the potential IA release, and they agreed that for the time being, considering the fact of how tricky the case is, they're partners and they're friends, and also Lopez's husband is the person prosecuting in this matter who's reporting Harper in the first place. That probably it'd be best for the time being for them to all kind of take a break from each other and just be strictly professional about the matter. I believe from there, yeah, I know Selena also reaches out to the original lady who cursed the pair, trying to plead with her about trying to get her to release the curse, but she'll do it under the condition of $1,000, and she can never be legally. This entire matter can never see legal matters against her, which Selena making a very limited salary, how's she gonna get $1,000 is pretty unclear. To be completely honest with you. I believe we go back to the arson case where they do get a hit as they were tracking the phone numbers of one of the man that they were suspecting. He called this one number for 3 minutes, which is probably an ex-lover of his. It's not an ex-lover. It's just someone that he was trying to swoon while he was in prison. Kind of like, that post-prison wife mentality. She never fell for it, and, maybe she had listened to him a couple times, but, like, she doesn't have an interest in that, considering the fact that she's single. She's alone. She got no one else to help her out with, and then immediately her girlfriend comes walking through the back door, and I'm just like, that's just lovely. This is great. So, yeah, with all that being said, Nolan and Miles put the cuff on them and get them arrested. As that same arsonist, suspected arsonist, is watching them from a distance in his own car. Trying to think where else we are missing on here. I'm trying to remember. I don't believe so. I can't remember anything else that I'm specifically missing per se before we get to the big moment of the episode. I know Lucy and Juarez do a little bit of a sprint around the area before heading back to Mid-Wilshire. They accidentally get into a tumble with a random dude, but the random dude refuses to kind of, give his information, kind of refuses to acknowledge the situation. He keeps walking away while they return back to the station house. However, sadly, when they are leaving the shop, Miles being in the staircase above, they look under. They don't look underneath, but like as the camera kind of pans on them leaving the area, there is an explosion. The guy left the bomb there, and I'm just like, damn, like we have seen like the first time ever, which usually I akin to like when I was a kid, whenever like the main home, the main superhero base, like it gets destroyed, it gets wrecked. That's like kind of like a sign of like we're wrapping up the show, and I'm just like I got a little scared from him. I got a little scared. As the bomb was clearly loud, clearly, it was a very huge blast radius, and to see Mid-Wilshire in a state of disarray and this organization is horror. It's very sad to see. By the time some of them get to it, Lucy is fine. She's morally conscious. Sadly, Juarez did get hit with a shard of glass, being advised to go find a tourniquet before trying to remove it. As they both split up to go rescue as many people as possible. Miles completely knocked out. Bradford completely knocked out. Harper pinned down. Some of the inmates locked behind the door as well, and just everyone kind of for what the heck is going on here. Juarez does find a tourniquet. She does save herself from that and starts to focus on rescue, saving Harper in the process. They start saving more individuals. Chen does move around trying to find people as well, saving some before she eventually finds Bradford, who is alive and gets saved when Chen and him pushed the bookcase off of him, getting him to safety. Nolan and Lopez do join in last minute, trying to save the inmates. However, one of the doors does get stuck, so they have very hard difficulties trying to get it to be pried open. Juarez does end up saving Miles at the very end of the day, which I'm like, thank God his bad luck curse is unofficially over. As Bailey and the other firefighters show up to rescue the inmates as well as get everyone else out of there. Which I'm like, again, I think my only critique with that is that as much as they did a very well job shooting that moment, getting A and B, getting like building up the suspense of like this honestly works for the benefit. This gives the vibe of like someone could have died in this episode. At the same time, no one died in this episode, and I think that is an issue where like we're putting our people in like life and death moments, and I'm not saying anyone should have died. I love this cast too much. It's gonna be really hard. The day comes when like they have to kill someone else. That's gonna be very sad. But for this moment specifically, it's like you are putting a bomb in the station that they work in. You know, there are clearly people down, and I know that like you never want to get rid of anyone off the show, but like at the same time, this would have been a very big like what the fuck moment. This could have redefined the whole season, mind you. Again, like what should death always be used to kind of reshake the formula, kind of build in that additional like oh my god, we got like a bunch of episodes to write now to focus on that. I'm not the biggest fan of that, to be honest with you. I agree if like things are getting a little stale, then yeah, it's a technique you can use. But like the fact that this is a explosion on their home base and no one died is like that is the most the luckiest precinct in station house in the entire world. But yeah, so everyone's safe, everyone's sound, no reported casualties. Gray and Lopez deliver the handcuffs to the guy, arresting him. 100% they're going to be charging him with every single one of these attempted murders as everyone starts hugging their loved ones. Wesley getting to Lopez, being happy about it, being about her safety. Chen and Bradford kind of comparing at their scars about like how many times we got to survive a fire, which I'm like, that's funny. Juarez watches over Miles as Roger shows up. Apparently, he paid off the lady in order to get her to lift the curse off him, so he should be back to normal relatively soon, which is also sweet as a result of it. I believe we also go to who else do we have here? I know Harper is just sitting by her lonesome, which I'm like, where the hell is James? Like, of all the things that we need in this episode, there is not a single sighting of James. Anyway, as Lopez and Wesley decide to briefly take a pause on their potential IA issue to just focus on just being there for each other and making sure that the other person is safe and sound. As Nolan and Bailey also head out, again, once again, Nolan's amazed and valuing Bailey's work as a fighter, as she also thanks him as well. And this is when Nolan decides to make the push, like you should go to DC alone. Like you shouldn't have to hold yourself down because of me. We can survive this, which I'm like, okay. I mean, I really don't 100% know the backstory for this Nolan, but I'm just like, okay, whatever you want to pursue it as. But yeah, he gives Bailey his full support that if she wants to go to DC solo, take out the job and give it a go, and then yeah, he's gonna support her. And I was Bailey's like, although, is this because you think I'm going to quit in the year because I'm going to find a new challenge back here at home? Which I might. Maybe yes, maybe no. But will Bailey decide to choose that avenue? Who really knows for the time being as they embrace each other and just as another chaotic Valentine's Day special comes to an end. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode a lot. I did have a couple critiques with it, to be honest with you, just with the larger storytelling notion of it. Again, like I alluded to before, I feel like the way we were going with this episode wasn't 100% like kind of hitting the marks that I was kind of hoping for. There was a couple things kind of missing from it that had we not gotten those last 10-15 minutes, I feel like I could have said a whole different thing about this episode review, but it was not the case. With that being said, I believe in my humble opinion, the fire thing again. Like I said, it was a very well shot moment. I wasn't expecting that 100%. They did not spoil that in the promos. But again, you had a really big moment, and the way you hyped it up in the promos and the trailers were like, this could have been a game changer. Like again, it's never easy to kill someone. It's never is. But sometimes it weighs the hard cookies to do so. But yeah, I mean, I'm considering from what I was aware of, yeah, I knew no one was going to die in this particular episode. But the fact of the matter is that we could have had something. We could have used this avenue for a much more bigger road down the road. It had to spin to have a much more bigger impact. But if Mid-Wilshire ends up being rebuilt by next week, then like yeah, the impact of that wasn't really 100% something to write home about. But again, this is my comments and critiques on that one specifically. And Nolan and Bailey kind of making things up with the whole yeah, no one's gonna let Bailey. Like again, I knew about it. It was in the promos. Like it was gonna happen. But I'm just like, I am the belief that a married couple should always be together. Not always be together, like 24/7, but on my living together, like conversing, eating, to be in the same area, at least in the same city as each other. There's like things that like to happen, like where they gotta separate for a couple of weeks at a time. Maybe something happens with the family, a work thing pops up. Anything could happen. But the fact that this was the thing, and again, Nolan made it very clear, and I'm like, I don't know if it's Nolan trying to appease Bailey, but I'm like, dude, you did so much for Bailey. This isn't even her dream job. Like 100% Bailey. Like y'all, like the thing is that she had a much more visceral reaction to this happening than her giving up having a baby. Like that is, I think, personally, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know. I mean, look, I understand you got to make the story work and be interesting, but I'm just like, y'all, like, this could have easily been like, Nolan's done a lot for Bailey. This should have been Bailey's moment to make it up to Nolan. But the fact that she's being rewarded with this, and again, like, will this end up breaking them up? Will this end up like making their relationship strong? I really don't know. I trust the writers on that. I really, really do. But from not even like from a storytelling or a character perspective, from just a person to person thing, I don't say it's a tracker thing where like, oh, I do a nice thing for you, you should do a nice thing for me. But it should be kind of where like, if Nolan has done so many great things for Bailey, that again, if you love someone, of course you should do it. The other person should do the same as well. And I feel like this would have been one of those moments to keep their marriage alive. Whether or not this will cause adverse effects on their marriage in the rest of the season, we'll find out. We'll find out. But at least right now, I'm not the biggest fan of this decision. I really am not. But hopefully, they'll find a way to make this all make sense at the end of the day. But with all that being said, I'm giving this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this week's episode of The Rookie. Did you love it? Did you like it? Let me know down below. We'll have to have a conversation with you about it. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 8th season of The Rookie. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our Rookie episode reviews. Right now, we are just doing Rookie reviews. We should be back in a couple of weeks with more Matlock episode reviews for its 2nd season. So stay tuned for that. We do have After the Theater, which is our movie review series on the channel as well. You can go check that out here. But if you only care about The Rookie, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review for you, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, like, favorite, share if you want to, ring that bell, and follow social media for more. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.